Oh, is it live? Is it live? I never know if it's live. There's noises coming from outside. Is it live? Is it live? Am I dead inside? Am I alive outside? Who knows? Who knows? What's up, everyone? Let's see. FD is going to be here in a sec. I am setting up and hanging out and doing stuff. Let's see. How do I do that? It's always something. Always something going on. Always something to do. What's up, guys? Thanks for confirming that I am live. I never know these things. I never know if I'm dead or alive. Hopefully, everyone's having a good day. Saw some of you guys are going to see people tomorrow as well. Just a reminder, if people feel like it, tomorrow doing the normal Wednesday stream and gonna hop on with Taylor Lorenz or Lawrence. Taylor Lorenz. Did I do it wrong? Did I? I'm not sure. But definitely check that out. If you're around tomorrow, will be interesting to talk to her for sure. Let's see. Someone said Leah Miller yet. Yeah, I don't know. Whoa, is John Duncan here? Is that a different John Duncan? I mean, there can be multiple John Duncans, but there's like a John Duncan that's like a YouTube guy, John Duncan. So I don't know if I think it's not that John Duncan, but that's fine because I don't need it to be that John Duncan. It could be any John Duncan. It's a good name in general. You know, it's a name that exists and I appreciate. Do people watch Andor? Is that a thing that people watched? Did you guys like it? I liked it a lot. I'm waiting for someone to tell me why I shouldn't like it. Every time I like something that I think is really good these days, there's always someone to tell you why you shouldn't like it. And that's great. I do not know Hassan, not really talked to him. So, you know, yeah, I've been popping in and out, watching Noah Sampson's stream on and off the past couple of days. I was actually just catching up on CJ the X's conversation there yesterday. So I'm definitely not Mr. Wisecrack. That's not me. That's not me, man. I was maybe that person, and now I'm definitely not that person. Definitely not that person at all. Not even a little bit. Oh, so I'm working on a video today that I'm going to film this week. It's kind of on stuff I've talked a lot about before, the annoying conversations around postmodernism and Marxism, but maybe in a more meta way, you know, maybe in a more meta type of way. And I kind of think I'm over that debate. I think some of the postmodern Marxism, I think it's just all missing the point. So I want to talk about it. I want to talk about why I think it's all kind of missing the point and why I think we should move on. So gonna film that. I think I'm finally gonna let me know if this is something you guys want. I feel like maybe you guys aren't the best sample size. I've been waiting because I didn't want to get in trouble legally just to make a video that is a sort of like, I want it to be like the last time I talk about it, but a video that's sort of like, okay, here's what happened at my job. Here's what I'm doing now. Let's just set the record straight. Let's just say what it is. If that is something people would maybe watch, let me know. But I don't want to be like overly self-indulgent, right? That's always a temptation with stuff like this, is to be overly self-indulgent. So there you go. I think these popped in. I want to wait a second. Let me get set up.
Yeah,
Oh, amazing. Yeah, take your time.
Here. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me get my camera.
Yeah, let me pull you on.
Nope, wrong camera. I meant to do this one. And I think we are dual streaming to my Twitch. My camera is not working though. Oh, it's because my camera is on my Twitch. So hold on one second.
Yeah, take your time.
Cut that there. And let's see if I can get it to activate here. Doesn't look like it. So I'm going to try.
This is very on brand for this stream because normally about 1/8 of every stream is me doing technical stuff and not being able to make things work.
Oh man, so we have a lot of synergy.
Yeah,
a lot of synergy.
Yeah,
that is basically me. Hold on one second.
Yeah, take your time. I'm gonna talk with the chat. You do that, guys. As he's getting figured out, and you're all used to this, guys. If you're here and you've watched me stream on this channel before, you know that this is what we do. We work stuff out, and I'm just gonna say it. There's people on YouTube that were born, in the late 90s and 2000s who are technically proficient. There's people on YouTube who were born in the 80s. I'm sure I'm being presumptuous right here, but. And those of us born in a certain era, we take our time doing things, we work to get them right. So someone in the chat said old people trying to stream is peak. Well, there you go.
Make sure it's properly connected and not being used by another application. It's not being used by another application.
I know that there's one way to do this where if you have like all the shit going into Restream, then Restream will let you go directly to your Twitch as well. That's one thing I do know.
That sounds like you're speaking Greek right now. I should let me try to go out and come back in.
Yeah. Do that. Evan, I did see that. A fan Discord seems like a lot. No one should be my fan. But if anyone wants to join that, they should. But I don't know. I don't deserve a Discord. I don't deserve anything. This feels we're off to a good start, guys. We're off to a good start because this is what we do. This is what old fellas do when we're trying to stream and stuff like that. So, but Jellybean said, try turning it on and off again. Yeah, that's always the first step is the on and off again situation. Yeah, I know a lot of people use Discord on streaming stuff. The thing for me, at least, is, and this is way too in the weeds. A lot of people use Discord. Use Discord to then run through OBS, which is a lot of effort and something that not to do. Oh, hey, there he is.
By the way, chat, do y'all hear me and Michael? At least, can we get at least that? Because they see me in my chat. So
yeah.
So they at least hear and see me on my side.
Okay, well that's good.
So I got to figure out how to get me on camera here.
Okay, so I do know can you do the thing where on your end, during like the camera button at the bottom where you click is it giving you the option on here?
Yeah, it's giving me the option
to pick your source.
But it's saying that the camera is like I have two different cameras set up, and it's saying that both are. Let me just double check this.
I mean, also, if it's easier to do this, I'm happy to just we could do it on your end, and I could just send everyone over there too. Wait, someone's saying. Wait, are you a Bears fan as well? Oh, okay. There you go, guys. That was it. That was the debate. That was the classic Michael Burns FD Signifier debate. He left because it got too contentious and too controversial. But that's what YouTube's all about. It's about fights. It's about debates. It's about ideological warfare. That's what we come here to do. That's what we come here to do. So I know that got extreme. And I know some things were said that can never be unsaid. But that's just how things go. And we're back.
Yeah, and now this camera isn't even the camera I was trying to use isn't working at all. So I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, okay. Let's do that. Add to the scene.
What is happening?
Infinite regress. Yes. This is cool. It just keeps going. Holy crap.
Okay, that didn't work.
I don't know. I think by one metric it worked.
Okay. Okay. This is frustrating. I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry. Like, again, this is the story of my life and stuff like this. The only thing that gave me hope for this was somehow, I talked to someone yesterday using this, and I guess there's a setting I didn't realize where you can like co-stream if you are a guest on this, which let them just go to their Twitch as well.
Yeah. So, all right. So explain how that happens again.
Okay. So I can't see what's going on your end, but there should be an option for you on your end to also connect this to your Twitch and co-stream the thing there.
Let's see.
But I cannot tell you where that thing is.
Presentation, screen share, extra camera.
Let's see. Co-stream as, I'm going to look this up.
Nope, that didn't work.
Okay. So steps for the guest. Receive access, allow permission, join the stream when important consideration. A host can choose to allow guests to add their own channels to the stream. So let me see if I can figure out precisely what you click. If anyone in the chat, I mean, there's probably some genius, smart-ass 25-year-olds in the chat.
Yeah. Smart-ass in a good way, surely.
Yeah. Oh, I meant that very, very positive.
Because right now, because I don't understand, like, literally this just stopped.
Okay, here we go. With instant pairs, you can join a studio stream as a guest and broadcast it to your own channel. Access the invite link. Enter your name and click join stream. Click add channels at the top right corner of the screen.
Okay. All right, so hold on 1 second.
And I just wanted to say, I hope we're bringing a lot of joy to in a good way, smart ass.
Yeah, this is
hearing two
great.
Grown men.
There's probably 5 or 6 degrees between us.
Yes, just piles of degrees to then sit
piles
here
of degrees
and have me read off the instructions from the Restream support site.
They said where am I clicking? Top right hand corner is leave.
Okay, so is there something to the left of leave?
No, there's nothing.
Here, I'm gonna. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna screen share what I'm looking at to this stream. I'm gonna make it even more pathetic.
Hey, I don't know what happened.
I'm here. Shit, there you are. Okay, now I'm gonna make it go away.
All right,
get away, screen share. Stop screen share. Oh shit. Okay, amazing, man.
And I just look like I'm in a Saw movie. So I'm kind of afraid to turn on lights because this camera will overheat. So you're just gonna have to get horror movie stylized FD.
Yeah,
1 second.
Everyone turn up your monitors or your settings.
Right. I'm gonna play with my settings a little bit to make it a little better, maybe.
Guys, we're doing it. We're making progress here. This is the ultimate old guy stream, and I love it.
What happened? I just had it.
Oh shit! I looked away for a second. Oh no! Did you hit a button? Guys, it's like, what is... That Unk tech support could be a good place to take the channel. Oh boy. Summerless. I'm glad we're bringing joy to a 43-year-old smartass with 0 degrees. So there, I mean, we're proving that maybe degrees aren't worth it. You know? Feel like we're embodying the logic of the skits on the first Kanye album where the person's degrees keep them warm at night and teach them how to stream. I'm glad this is awesome for you guys. I did not delete the guest. Everyone start that. Someone make a reaction video. Michael Burns rudely cancels FD Signifier camera as an act of malice. Someone said free. Yeah, guys, you can get that in a second. listen, guys, I appreciate some of this tech advice in the chat. You know, I think I've done the Discord thing before, guys. It's just a lot. And the real thing.
I don't know what's going. It was there for a second. I don't know what's happening. I'm very frustrated now.
No worries. It happens. So here's all I'll ask. Do you have anything next to the end stream or leave stream thing at the top of your screen?
No, there's nothing there.
Oh, damn. Okay, let me see if I just want to try one thing. Allow guest to rebroadcast this event on their channels. Yes. Okay, I'm going to send you a link right now. Let's see. Is there a private chat thing I can do it? Do you see this if I send you that link?
I see it.
Maybe try that, log back in that way, because that's on my end at least. That link says it has a thing that says paired channels. I've clicked a thing that says that allows you to rebroadcast here. So maybe let's try that one more time. And if not, we can just do it however it works or doesn't work.
All right, so
it's so evil that it worked and it didn't work. Okay, FT to join, add to the stream. Oh, now there's two of you. Okay, so it just doubled you. Now there's two Fs on screen. And there's nothing up top of the screen.
No.
Damn.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm plugging. So I did the classic plug and unplug, which worked a second ago. Like I unplugged my cam link, and then I plugged it back in, and it just made a noise like it's connected. And I even got a message, and it's back.
Okay. I feel like cam link is weird sometimes. I feel like that thing doesn't like to play nice with certain things.
Test. Okay, so I'm frozen, like as if there's a camera there. So now I'm talking and it's pulsing, but when I turn it on as if the camera's supposed to be there, it's like no.
Beautiful.
All right. Well,
we could just. I mean, listen. We could accept that this is what it is. Oh, wait. Let me see. I'm gonna do something really dumb. Is there anyone I can just add? What if I put just a picture on screen so people?
Yeah. And I'm actually just gonna put myself on OBS in this box.
You should do it. I think that's
as if I'm there.
Yeah.
The whole time.
I think why not? Wait, what can I? Okay, here. Let me see. I'm gonna do.
How many elder millennials does it take to get a video running? There you go.
Oh, how do I? Let's see. Can I make those match up? Let's see. No, now I'm doing a bunch of dumb stuff. Oh boy. How can I make this?
Look at the camera setting in the browser.
Okay.
I have no idea why it popped up a second ago and why it just refuses to do it now.
That's the most. It's almost better when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Worse when it works and it doesn't work. Well, listen, maybe it'll match.
This works. I think this,
we can just chat, man. Well,
yeah, we're not. Nobody's here for our looks.
No, that's very true.
It is what it is.
And I love this is our first time interacting, just really exemplifying again. Old guys with degrees that don't know how to press the buttons the right way. That's really what it is. Wait, so this is the really important thing. This came up in the chat, and I didn't know this. Are you a Bears fan?
Oh, I am a huge Bears fan. I just noticed the Cubs hat. I'm not a Cubs fan though, but yeah, I think we all suffer uniquely in Chicago.
Yeah, it's a curse. I sometimes when people make fun of me if you're a Cubs fan, I'm like, you are objectively correct.
Yeah.
But it's a familial thing, a curse passed down through fathers. It's like the biblical thing where the sins of the fathers affect the sons even harder.
Yeah, so. My sons both are still in a phase of life where they think it's funny to dislike the things I like.
Mm-hmm.
So my oldest is a Ravens fan. My youngest is an Eagles fan. Neither of them care actually about football or watch it at all, but they know that hurts my feelings. And I've kind of just said, you know what? Because we're in Atlanta, they don't have any like tie to the city. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let that ride. I think that's just me breaking a generational curse to have them not develop you know, a connection to a cursed sports franchise.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't have to be a thing I do to my children. Like,
Because
you
the
know,
Bears are tough. The Bears are like, because at least most of my life as a Cubs fan has been cursed. We had one shining moment, but you know, the Bears are probably the team growing up that my family was the most adamant about. And what a horrible thing to care about.
yeah, it's pretty bad. But I am a huge Bears fan. I follow football probably as close. I think football's the only thing I truly follow now. You know, outside of like, you know, social media shit posting and a little bit of politics, etc. Like, because you know, do you have children?
I do. I have a daughter.
Okay,
young though, so she's just almost 2.
okay.
So she hasn't rejected me yet, and is currently at a phase where, and I shouldn't have done this, but I had to do it. She gets up. She's into the Cubs right now, so she will let her watch like the replay clips of games, and she'll scream "Go Cubs, go!" and yell out the names of certain players.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I've never had that experience.
Oh man, that's cool to know you're. Wait, so are you from Chicago then?
Yeah, from Southside.
Oh, that's
I grew up in
great.
the South suburbs.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm also chewing in your face.
No, it's all good. Well, see, the good thing is since you're not here, you on my end at least, since I can't see, you know, maybe I should like pull up your Twitch and mute it so that I can see that you're there and just get a sense of that. You know what I could do actually? Well, never. I don't want to overthink it tech wise, but that's cool. I somehow in watching, let me think, probably watched 40 to 60 hours of you in my lifetime and did not put together that you were a Chicago guy.
Well, BreadTube, LeftTube doesn't give a shit about sports. I've learned that the hard way.
I literally had the thought for a second that was like, we should just keep talking about sports and see how quickly we can get it to nobody watching.
It's quite possible. My Twitch is, I'm very much, so we can get into like YouTube Svengali hacking that I've been doing since I got in the scene.
Yeah.
But I'm very purposely creating more distance between my Twitch following and everything else I've done.
Mm-hmm.
At least I'm trying to overall. Obviously, it's going to be people that follow like this. I'm more known or YouTube, but I'm trying to like just make it somewhat inhospitable.
That sounds great.
Right. For the more normative LeftTube, BreadTube audience. So I can get a little bit more normal people. I feel like this is more useful for, especially on Twitch in particular, where like there's really just not a lot of, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of value in your typical BreadTube energy, because Twitch is just so reactionary at its core. And there's also a ton of young black men here. Mm-hmm. And I kind of don't want to scare them off too early. I kind of want to Trojan horse them as much as possible, because there will be no readings of Gromsky on my Twitch channel. My first 2 videos, the first one's about Shannon Sharp, the second one's about Tory Lanez, and the next one's probably going to be about Robert Griffin III, or I don't know.
Wait, so you're doing videos that you're just putting on Twitch?
Yeah, no. Those are going on YouTube. So I'm farming myself.
Yeah.
Where, because I don't know how you are, but like I've been like at Hassan's, like on stream with Hassan before, and like it's like a scene from Hackers where he is looking at 2 screens and his chat is 55,000 people and they're moving at Mach speed, and he's got like 4 cameras, there's all this stuff going on, and he does that for 7-8 hours a day. Never me. Never happened.
Yeah. I don't want Hassan Piker to die, but if we could see his brain, if there was a way to keep him alive and analyze his neural structure as he does that, because I feel like, recently there was a wave of articles about him, and like everyone, the journalists would just point out, I mean, you've been there, so you know better than I, but that it's just like a control center of like monitors and Zyn pouches and cats and stuff like that.
Definitely some type of Halo gun behind him. like So he's strapped up in case somebody wants to come test him at the socialist mansion, of course.
Yeah.
And so so like I can never do that. So my plan is to just run my own mini Hassan industrial complex where I stream for top 5 hours a week, right?
Yeah.
But out that 5 hours, I could probably post 3 decent video segments. And I don't have to pay the editor the same rate I pay him for like my main channel videos. But if I put out, if I put out, that ends up being like, 15-ish videos a month, that'll eventually, God willing, that'll end up being almost the same income I'm making from my main videos. God willing.
So wait, so you're doing then in your industrial complex empire. So that means then you're running main channel, B-sides channel, and then stream channel.
Yes. I also have a podcast channel that I kind of just do whenever I feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how do you, I'm curious about this, like, and you don't have to get too inside baseball if you don't want to. Like, how many people do you have working for you to help you, working for you / with you to help you manage all that? Because that just made my brain feel a little bit overwhelmed.
Not a lot. I have 4-ish editors that I kind of hire on for projects. I have 3 editors that I interchange for B-sides and Twitch stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then I have 3-ish editors for main channel videos. And some of those main channel videos are also B-sides people. And so it's kind of like, I go by who I think is best suited. Like, and the main channel videos are the only ones that I like spend a lot of real time on. Aside from like a B-sides video I can write in a couple of hours. Like literally when we stop talking, I'm going to write a B-sides before I pick up my kids from school.
Oh, amazing.
God willing. And then I can get that to an editor, get that back in a couple of days, and that can be posted by Friday, right? So it's not really a huge lift for those. The the main channel videos though, I treat them as like media projects.
Yeah.
And I try to think through visuals and like there's a lot of iteration. Most of them, not all of them. Some of them I just like, here, edit this. Like the Trump video I did a couple of weeks ago. I gave it to my most efficient professional editor and said, can you get this done in a couple of weeks? And I know, actually I gave that to a new editor. I did give that to a new editor. But it was like, that's like, for me, that video was like low investment, versus this Beyonce video I'm, God willing, going to release next week. I've been working on since probably the end of March. And that went through like 3 different phases, and I'm releasing a trailer hopefully today or tomorrow, and it's all this stuff. And sometimes like for like research, I will like I'll have an editor be pulling B-roll, kind of like as like a something for me to just look at and like think through as I'm like working through iterations on the script. Or I'll straight up just hire I'll shout out to Nicholas Nameless. Every once in a while, I'll hire him to write me like a white paper, essentially on a topic, to make sure that there's like, if there's things I know, like there's always things I know I want to talk about. I usually talk about topics that are already well within my wheelhouse. But like for Kid and Play, I did a video on Kid and Play, and I was like, all right, I need to know what their actual industry like status was. Like, who were they signed to? Like, what management company were they on? Yada yada yada. Because like the big story there was like, were they like the first ever industry plants? The end answer was no. Technically, they weren't. But I needed someone to kind of do that footwork. But other than that, I'm just gifted with being able to write really fast, really well. Grad school gave me that experience. I'm sure you, as a philosophy guy, you know what it's like to like kind of piss away the time you had to finish the term paper. And, I had a methodology. It's like, okay, I may have given this too much time. So I need to, for me, it was, I'm going to the library, I'm turning on the Mars Volta, and I'm sitting here for 6 or 7 hours until I have 80% of a paper done. And and suddenly that became a really useful YouTube skill. So here we are.
Yeah. I mean, I would, so now both, let's see, being bad at tech stuff, very relatable. Also, cranking out papers in a library while listening to the Mars Volta, also very relatable. So with you on that one. Wait, and what were you studying when you were in grad school?
Sociology.
Okay, I thought that was the case. Wasn't totally sure. And where'd you do that at?
I'd rather not say.
Oh, no, don't worry. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Don't.
But I'm technically ABD. I was I just finished comps,
mhm.
and my reward to myself for no. Did I finish? Maybe I finished I was in a dual program.
Mhm.
And I think my reward to myself for finishing my thesis, my master's thesis, and like finishing up the master's portion of it. It is my second master's. Was all right, like, because I had, lollygagged, changed jobs, had two kids in between. Like, I started grad school, had two kids, changed jobs twice. And like, so like we're 5 years into a 5-year program, and I'm just finishing the master's portion. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I finally got it done. My reward to myself is I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And like after a year on YouTube, I was like, and I just finished comps like after about a year mark. And then suddenly my channel started blowing up. And I was like, I could finish this PhD, or I can become a rich, famous YouTuber.
Which everyone thinks, of course, that's the common option when you're in a PhD program. It's
right, yeah.
This or that, yeah.
It's either become a famous professor. I actually got kind of hated academia. Yeah, because I was looking for a reason to cop out. But yeah, sociology, ABD, finished comps, and probably went viral like 3 months later with that Bo Burnham video.
God, that's amazing.
Yeah. So,
well, and it's interesting. Like, do you think that because both publicly and then the way some people talk about your work behind your back in a positive way, is that you are like one of the most sort of systematic people in how you think about YouTube, especially relative to a lot of, I don't know. Do we still use the term breadtuber? Does that still mean anything? But
I mean, it does, but it's also pejorative. But it's also like we've also, I feel like we've also like gotten into a reclamation of it. We're entering that phase where I'm kind of like, I want to take breadtube back. From the anti-SJW type folks. We just saved Ian Danskin's career, maybe. I don't know the full situation there, but I hope he's doing well. So like, I kind of don't want to let go of the concept, but that might just be me being a Herb or a Mark in that regard. But no, like, yeah, I think the difference is I'm an adult.
Yep.
No shade to my peers. But like, so much of RedTube were people, I think you're the only other person. Who else has kids? I know Lindsay Ellis has kids, but she barely, she doesn't post on YouTube anymore.
I'm trying to think of people who are in, I guess I feel like no one in the more, I guess, breadtube space does.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like other YouTubers who have kids, like, I was talking to Matt from Mr. Beat, and he has kids and stuff, but I think he's kind of in his own lane, not in the breadtube world.
Right. Yeah. It's breadtube adjacent, but it's not like, it's not part of the core aesthetic clique.
Yeah.
Lil Bill, my homie, has 2 kids, and Foreman has a son. And that's it. And none of the women have kids, which I think is like a missed opportunity in the way that I'm not gonna talk too much about because it's not my position. But I really think there's like a glaring opening for Black women breadtube kids things. Shout out to Poetic Injustice. Unpoetic Justice is either Poetic Injustice or Unpoetic Justice. I know she has at least one daughter. Oh, Julesy, thank you, Bammy Chaos. Julesy has a son. She just had her son, but she's also not as active on YouTube.
I know some people like, and I respect the fact that there's I'm sure there's people who like have kids or families and just kind of keep that to the side, which is weird too, because I think I feel like a lot of years for most of my time of being a person who was on YouTube, I kind of was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Because when I was doing stuff, especially my first few years at Wisecrack, I like didn't really participate that much in YouTube outside of that. It was like a job I kind of fell into in terms of being a you know, out of work professor who had moved to LA and had some other stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I slowly got into stuff, but I kind of just like made stuff for the channel. I'd watch other stuff occasionally, wasn't doing a lot of streaming or podcast stuff, wasn't reading comments, that sort of thing. And then as I've, you know, over the last like couple of years started streaming more, and then recently just am a free agent now. The weird thing is like when you like accidentally activate the really weird people, they like talk about your family.
Yeah.
And I think this is like an old guy thing. I've talked to other friends who are, you know, elder millennials about this, but there's this sense, and I know this is toxic, and I will say this often on streaming shows. I have a certain level of toxicity in me. I don't know if I'll ever.
We all do. I don't think you can appear on cam and not have a certain amount of ego, a certain amount of petty, you know, etc. And I think it's a part of the job description. But go ahead, I cut you off.
Well, no, like it's a thing that hit me by surprise. Like when you make people in certain communities mad, then you like get DMs with weird little incels saying shit about my family. Yeah. And there's this part of me that's like, I need to physically fight
assault this person.
Yes. Like and there was like a point at which someone did recently, and it was over something so innocuous, DM'd me my home address. Oh, and my initial response was to write back like, I dare you to come here, you little bitch. But I also knew that that's not what one does when one has a family and people they care about and love. But so that's like the element of, and I think a thing, and I've seen you know, you've obviously talked about this in videos and dealt with this, but I think that there's like a difference in what it's like to be a slightly older person with the family participating in a digital culture that's largely populated by a lot of younger men without attachments that live in a more like free-for-all space.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's that for me, like it took a lot of conversations with CJ to even kind of see myself as participating in an art movie, you know? And once I did that, I was like, oh yeah, you know, like once that kind of clicked for me, it changed me a little bit. Yeah. But it's still, to me, first and foremost, this is my new job.
Yeah.
This is just the best job I've ever had. But it's still a job. I still think about it as work. My wife talks to me about it as work. She says, stop working when I'm like, you know, in the middle of a brainstorm or, you know, sending messages all hours of the day. Because of that, I think I'm more, in a weird way, I'm more willing to, it's not even, I don't even want to say it's risk, but there's a barrier that I see in some of my peers that I don't have, of like fear of judgment, excuse me, fear of a take or a project not being exactly what they want it to be. Engagement with like community and comment sections and stuff like that. Like a lot of that, it feels like will slow. And also just like, no shade to anybody. Like I don't, I'm not particular to any controlled substances. I don't go out. I'm not interested in like going to VidCon or a bunch of different events. Everybody that I'm YouTube friends with, I consider friends, and I love a lot of them dearly. But like, if I'm not making a lot of extra effort to go see them or to travel in general, if it's not with my actual family, people that see me, I get recognized regularly, never alone, because I literally don't leave the house by myself. If I'm out the house, is with my wife or my wife and kids. And so like that kind of just allows me to, I genuinely enjoy making videos. So I put the whatever energy that I think gets diffused when you're younger through all these other things, I give it right back to the videos. Like what I was getting to earlier is like football is the only thing I still do with like the same energy that I did football, video games, comic books, music, whatever. 15 years ago, I was super up on all those things all the time, versus now it's, I can listen to these football podcasts while I'm in the car with my kids. I maybe can't listen to the new, rap album with them in the car,
Mhm.
and I don't have a work commute. So now I don't listen to music hardly at all now, unless it's like for work, to make sure I'm prepared to talk about it for content. And it's that does on some level sound dystopian. And every once in a while I do like, oh, I miss being like just a normal fan.
Yeah.
But also it's cool.
But do you, so with your work, I'm wondering what you do. And this is, so since I got laid off and just committed to my own channel like 5 or 6 weeks ago, I've just been trying to talk to people that I think are good and do cool shit. And the thing that I'm interested in is this difference that I've experienced in terms of like when I was working for a YouTube channel that was owned by a company, and most parts of that were absolutely terrible. One of the parts that wasn't terrible is that every 2 weeks a check would be deposited in my account, and that check would be for the same amount of money. And if I went to the doctor, there was an insurance card, and the work was paying for that. There's like just stuff that was consistent, and it meant that in some cases, then it meant that like over at the channel I used to work at, if a bunch of videos bombed, it was like, oh, this sucks, and I feel bad about it because I want to make good things, but it's not negatively affecting me financially. It would also mean that if we did some crazy sponsorship deal and had a bunch of videos that popped off, I didn't see any upside of that.
Right.
What I'm having to get used to now is what it feels like to make things and put things up where there's that direct correlation then between YouTube analytics and income and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it feels insane. Like
Oh,
there's days where I'm like able to manage it, and other days where I'm like, this feels unsustainably nuts.
Oh, it is a very this again, Hassan's brain studied joke you made earlier is very true in terms of like the type of regular headspace you have to be in to do this professionally, consistently at a high level, successfully. And so the good thing for me is that I gamified it early. And I got into Nebula, and that put me in a room with a billion Nebula guy. I want to be clear, I fucks with my Nebula folks pretty tough like that. I had so much trepidation when I joined because I just don't willingly join groups of white people. I just never done that. But I was like, this is an opportunity. And when I got in the room, and then like I talked to Dave, and like Dave, he's a salesman. So like I want to be clear, he is a salesman, but he sold a good deal. And when I got into the room and like in those spaces, I was like, oh, so this is y'all doing this, and this is happening like this, and y'all are working, okay, and this is the strategy for this, and all these graphs are popping up in the Slack chat and shit. And so I started really paying attention to like what they were doing and how that was working. And I started to enjoy that part of it to the point where I've now become very good at it on my end, for me, not like for every channel, but like definitely for my channel. And so I've lost a part of myself in the process. Like it's a depersonalizing. There's a definitely a depersonalization you have to go through to be big. Like I envy Sean. Are you familiar with Sean Skoll, British guy?
Oh, I'm not.
No, you got to be familiar with Sean.
Wait.
He's one of the OGs.
Sean. What's his name on YouTube?
It's just Sean. He's just Sean. Let me see if I can find. God, I'm actually in the middle.
Oh, SH. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. In my head, I wasn't spelling it this way in my head, but wait, SHUN Sean. Yes.
I envy him because he's never shown his face.
Yeah.
And so that gives you some of your humanity back, and when you just don't have to look at your face so damn much. But I'm sure you've had that, like you're just staring at every flaw that you perceive and wondering if they're being perceived by everyone else. Yeah. But beyond that, it's just the constant measuring of yourself against a robot's whims, I mean, that's like to make it hyper specific. I've been having this thing. I mean, in a weird way, in putting stuff out solo. And when I first started doing it, it was like a test when I was still working full time at Wisecrack. But I saw that like the writing was on the wall from a corporate perspective. And there were some very cool people that worked at the company we were a part of that gave me the wink. That was sort of like if you see a lifeboat, maybe check it out.
But did the thing where I kind of like made some stuff really casually, edited some shit myself, and some of that did relatively really well. And now I'm in the space of like thinking about it so much and putting a level of effort in to where when it's that thing where like you do something kind of offhand and it does well and you're like, cool. If it didn't do as well, you're like, whatever, I didn't put a ton of effort into it. But then you like do put effort into something. And I had the classic YouTube thing last week where like the video that I think I've put the most effort into thus far that was going the best had the like 24-hour 1 out of 10 going great thing. And then just the decline since then. And just and having to like remind myself that I don't even know if I have to remind myself stuff, but just like working through that feels crazy. And it feels crazy to be like an adult person who is just like sitting with my wife trying to like hang out, and I'm like refreshing the CTR on the YouTube app and making a noise. My wife's like, "What?" I'm like, "Fucking 4.3. It was 6.7 like how many hours ago?" And you know, I'm at this stage like I'm kind of slowly, you know, not building a team. I don't have the money for that, but just like having people that I'm hiring to do stuff here and there, and people I've worked with before. But I've been doing the like when I panic, I go into this sort of throw shit at the wall thing. I'm just like, I'm just gonna make 100 thumbnails and let's just like go through them. But I know that all I'd say is I feel like you are famously a big thumbnail guy.
Oh yeah, well. So I'm a big. I'm not actually compared to like the real thumbnail whores. Like the real thumbnail whores are so big you don't realize it because like a Mr. Beast, you know, Veritasium, etc. Like,
but they're in like a different level of like that is what they do.
Right. But we so and so what I did is like, okay, how do I mimic that on at scale? Is that like the appropriate term?
That sounds like that's
for
people
right,
from academia. That sounds like us using business words.
Yeah. So I was like, how do I mimic that at scale? And I spent a lot of time trying to figure that out because it's not an exact science across genre, right? Like, so what I've started to figure out in the last, so first thing I figured out is I should only use my face for videos that I want Black people to watch. Like that was my first thing I figured out is that if I put a Black face on the thumbnail, it's going to reduce its reach if it's not about a Black people thing. It just is what it is. Then once I figured that out, I was like, okay, well, sometimes I only want Black people to watch my videos because sometimes a lot of white people in the comment section for some of these videos is really obnoxious and it ends up scaring Black people away. Excuse me. And then I started saying, okay, so like, what happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? Yellow letters, red letters, yellow arrows. I feel like I'm one of the innovators of the 4 square thumbnail. I don't remember anybody doing that until I was doing that. And now I see it a lot. Cause like, and I remember actually getting shit for that in Nebula because it wasn't like a ordained optimized thumbnail genre.
Okay.
Right. But I was like, one, I want people to know it's my video and I want them to have an idea of what I'm about to talk about. And so like communicating all that to the audience with those 4 images, it was, you know, useful. And one thing I take from like the Mr. Beastification of thumbnails is, you know, Mr. Beast never uses words in his thumbnail, like almost never. And it's because his the psychology for him is I need an image so evocative that it shouldn't require words, and the words are now the title, right? And so I don't follow that rule to its core, but I tend to try to keep that in mind when I'm choosing thumbnails.
Yeah, I mean, you used a lot less words than I would say other people in the space. Like I'm like looking at your page, like it's almost surprising.
Yeah, yeah, and that's part of the meta game or whatever. You know, and my new person is Imp Lemon or EMP Lemon. I don't know how to say his name. I'm telling everybody about EMP Lemon. EMP Lemon and Bobby Broccoli, to me, for the video essay genre, that is what you're trying to capture this like almost liminal space mystery that they capture in a lot of their thumbnails. Like if you go look at EMP Lemon, his thumbnails, they don't, and like, because it's also other things. Like I have a great voice, you have a good voice. EMP Lemon has an awful voice, no shade, but it's just a high pitched, he sounds like he's gonna fix your computer voice.
Yeah.
Right.
Sounds like we needed him earlier.
Right. He's being real, just keeping it real. And he's great. Like, I hope that's not taken like to be offensive. I'm sure he would also comment that he doesn't have the ideal voice for like radio or YouTube.
Yeah.
And he also doesn't have like a ton of super long videos. His videos tend to be 30-ish minutes on a regular basis. He doesn't have 2-3 hour long behemoths like I have, which is also part of the, like, when you want that 1 out of 10 to stay 1 out of 10,
yeah,
the video needs to be longer but also still engaging, right? And so, it's like, okay, this guy's doing like big numbers without doing a long video, without having like a great voice, so what is going on here? Well, I look at his thumbnails and all of them feel like can I screen share just real quick? This is show. Like, this is just like just kind of showing people what I'm talking about. So they all look different. None of them look, let me move myself out of my own freaking chat. So like I'm not blocking the middle of the screen. Sorry. I think he draws some of these himself. They all look different. They all kind of tell a story, and they have like this mysterious, like this Rogue Waves one, right? Like, look at that. That's just or this Art of the Choke. My favorite really cool. One is where is it? This one with Talladega. In the bottom middle there. Do you see it? Like, that is, to me.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's sick.
That's, yes, really. So it like grabs people in a way that I guess you gotta, whatever. This is cool.
No, that's cool though. But I think that's like the thing too, is like there's the I mean, how am I looking to say it? Like there's the temptation, and this is a thing I obviously have felt whatever, of you want to do things like, oh, how did I do this again? I had your picture up and then I fucked it up. I ruined it. But like doing things in such a way that sorry, I got fucked up by my screen. God damn it. I hate that.
Somebody said EMP Lemon has a 2014 era gamer voice. And I'm not trying to be mean when I say it, but it's completely true. He just does not have the voice. So much of, I think, of YouTube success is in like how good are you to have one in the background?
Yeah. No, I find that to be true. I mean, my favorite channels are ones where if I am watching and paying very good attention, that's fantastic. If I happen to not be, that's also okay.
Yeah. I
also feel good not doing that. I'm just doing every weird setup on the screen, guys. I'm just going to keep moving things around to make the layouts weirder and weirder. But I think, and obviously I think sometimes with especially thumbnails is there's of course a temptation to, I mean, and this is so much of YouTube, right? Like copying what works, mimicking what has already been done. There's an entire industrial complex, I think, built around that. And then I guess maybe there's the fear of trying new stuff. I mean, I wonder, was the decision for you, I'm bouncing around here, did you always want to make really long videos?
Yeah. I never excuse me. Like once I started to get the hang of what making videos was like and like what I liked about them, I immediately wanted them to be longer and was frustrated that I couldn't make them longer because I just didn't think that was gonna work. I didn't think it was appropriate. Excuse me. But let me look at something real quick. Video settings. I just saw something. Never mind.
False hope, guys. False hope.
False alarm.
Well, here, let me see one thing. It says audio only enabled. What if I click that? Oh no, then it's just back to.
Yeah, it's still doing the thing.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah, whatever. We're back. We're back to the comfort zone. Like my first, like for me, it was I had always said I wanted to make these videos because I'm a day one like watcher of this type of content.
Yeah.
I remember Wisecrack back with like the alien guy.
Yeah. Oh, that's yep. That's the
You
OG
know, like
stuff.
a long time ago. And so I've always been watching a lot of this content, and I always thought to myself, my origin story is I saw Lindsay Ellis, Hank Green, no, maybe John Green. Which one is the book, the writer?
I think is John the
That's
one that
John.
writes
Yeah,
the books about?
Hank
Yeah.
is the one I love. Hank. I don't know John well. I love
No.
Hank. I've talked to him a couple times. He's dope. I want to be respectful, even though I get mixed up with his brother.
No.
So I saw John Green, Lindsay Ellis, the guy YMS. I can't remember his name right now, but I'm just notoriously known to be bad at names, and probably someone else talk about the Lion King, and none of them, not a single one, brought up the fact that it is based on an African folk, the Epic of Old Mali, Sundiata, the Lion King. And I was just so fucking annoyed. And I was like, how did none of y'all know that? And and at the time I'm an English teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm literally teaching this in like my freshman or sophomore English class. We're talking about the movie The Lion King and its parallels to this African myth of Sundiata, the Lion King. And like I'm teaching this like for 3 years straight, you know, and then like I'm watching my favorite creators and none of them know that this is a thing. And I'm like, I'm gonna make my own video. And I never did for like 10 years because I was, you know, living and being a teacher and all kinds of other shit. But I decided like that was my decision. I was like, I'm gonna, oh no. And then the final straw was people's Black Panther videos. And that was just another, but at that point I already knew like if you want people to talk about Black oriented media, you probably need to do it yourself. You're a fool for expecting these folks to really have the knowledge to even get halfway there. And so I just started making stuff about old movies, and it wasn't until the Bo Burnham video popped off and I saw how much money was in this that I decided to be more political. But before then, I started trying to be serious after this Mike Tyson video, which is almost an hour long, and I cut it because I thought it couldn't be that long. I was like, this is not okay for you. I've never watched a video this long before, so clearly no one else will, and no one did. But it wasn't until I don't know who broke the meta on long ass videos. It wasn't me. Is it ContraPoints?
I mean, ContraPoints is probably the first really long video that I ever watched.
Yeah, I feel like Contra and H-Bomb and probably like 2019 both started saying you're gonna watch this hour-long video and you're gonna like it, right?
Yeah.
Cringe by ContraPoints is 1 hour and 20 minutes long. Canceling is 1 hour and 40 minutes long. Yeah, so that's about when I think people said, "Oh, this is a thing." I'm looking at this chat that just popped up. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling here, but my point is,
you're not. I get what you're saying though. But then I wonder, like, do you think as a YouTube science guy, then, I mean, are you still pretty committed to the idea that long is the way to go? Because, like, for example, from an effort perspective, if you know, if you for example could do a couple of shorter videos in the time you do a longer video, you know, is that something you think would be? I guess what I'm saying is like you seem pretty scientifically and business wise convinced that long is good in terms of this stuff.
So it depends on the goals you have and like what you want in terms of like your own workflow, etc. This is why I have now 4 channels. My sense of fulfillment and creation comes from the long form meticulous videos, and in terms of like consistent growth, consistent return on investment, etc., that is the meta to me for that. And I could probably make more money if I just focus 100% on Signifier B-sides at this point. Even with less than half the subscribers that the main channel has, if I put out 10 Signifier B-sides videos a month, and paid my editor a lot less, I could probably make more money than I make on the main channel. But I also have to put out 10 different videos. That's 10 recording sessions.
I
That's
mean,
it
10
actually
different
ends
ideas that
10
you're
different
excited about.
ideas, right? And it's also, and the thing that I realize about the longer form video is the algorithm only cares if people watch it like they watch you up until that point. So uh if I do, so there's some people that only want to really hear me talk for they what they really want from me is to talk for 90 minutes about
Mhm.
whatever. They love that shit. They'll eat it up. But they won't do it 3 times a month. They just don't have that much time, you know? And so like I can't come out with 3 90-minute videos at once. So you'll get one every 2 months, maybe, right? B-sides are shorter. And then for people with shorter attention spans, it's much less research, much more pop culture, current event oriented. And thus I don't have to, so like I can do that in a couple of hours and have way more mistakes in it. And the audience for B-sides does have crossover with the main channel, but it's not the same audience. And as long
And
as
is
I'm
that why
certain,
you keep them separate? Because that's the thing I've
yes,
wondered looking at your channel before. Like, why wouldn't you just
exactly.
have both of them on the same thing?
Because we're going back to the algorithm just wants you to hit the same spot every time.
Mhm.
I have a lot of sexual feelings towards the algorithm,
Mhm.
in terms of like how I refer to making the algorithm happy. And so it wants you, it wants you to hit the same spot every time. It wants to know exactly what it's going to get from you as soon as you enter a video into its system. And if you don't, then it drops I think it's like a credit score basically.
Yeah.
And so like I don't come out with 15-minute videos on the main channel because the main channel's audience is gonna be more likely to pass those videos up. Those videos also don't have the rewatchability. That's another thing I'm banking on, is that
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a video that's an hour long and so engaging that not only will you watch it once in 3 or 4 sessions, which is 3 or 4 different views, but you're gonna watch it again. You're gonna, after you watch it the first time for the experience, you're gonna put it on in the background for coziness, for comfort.
Yeah. And even with the longer thing, I found myself sometimes if I start a longer video and then a week later I pick it back up, I might just start over from the top as well. Because
Yeah,
I forgot, some of it. And if I like hanging out with that creator enough, it's like, fuck it, I'll just start it over and watch the whole thing so I can see how that's algorithmically beneficial.
exactly. And so those type of people really only exist on my main channel. My B-side channel and like this Twitch channel, these are going to be more normie, not completely invested in me viewers who are more so interested in the topic, interested in consuming the take, and then moving on about their day.
Yeah.
They're not really interested in, some of them, they might be interested in spending time with me. And if they are, then they'll find their way to the main channel. You see what I'm saying? And so the key here though is that by keeping all these things in separate spaces, it gives the algorithm 3 different ways to view me as a creator.
Mhm.
Because if like for a long time, shorts were on the same algorithm as everything else. And so there's videos, people talking about feeling like they ruined their channel
Yeah.
by making shorts, because a person that watches a 60-minute short isn't going to watch a 60-second short, isn't going to watch a 30-minute video essay or an hour-long podcast. They're just not. So putting all the channels on different, putting all your types of content on different channels gives you more room to make mistakes. So that the way I look at it is every time you drop a video, it's kind of like having somebody check your credit. The algorithm checks your credit.
Wait,
And
and do you think the algorithm, again, treating you like you are the guy at the end of the third Matrix movie that knows all the things?
ergo,
Yeah.
vis-a-vis.
But I mean, do you think there's a correlation between streams and stuff on the main channel? Like, do you think that YouTube wants those separated?
I personally don't take the chance.
Yeah.
Um, I will, if I stream on my main channel, which is rare, but it does happen, that always gets privated immediately after the stream's over.
Mhm.
And if people want to see it, which my streams are never, I'm just not that good of a streamer, at least not yet. So I'll put either on my Patreon. I used to. I don't do it as much now. Or I'll put like parts of it out as content, or I just don't. And
Yeah.
it's just lost media for people, because my fear is that if I stream, the algorithm's just gonna be like, oh, you released the video and it's gonna have 20,000 views, and I'm like, oh, I mean, your channel sucks now. So this next thing you do that you put all this effort into, we're only gonna show it to 5 people out the gate, and they were gonna, and then that's it. You only have, the and that's one of the reasons why B-sides I think I can make more money is that when you make more videos, it is more risk in terms of like everything is again a credit score. But if you release 10 videos, 2 or 3 of them are going to be hits, right? At least for your numbers. And if you have a high floor, you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, then, you might get 5 that barely reach 200K within a month. But then you'll have 5 that hit 600K in a month. And that's a really good living. That's a really good money coming out the gate.
Yeah, well, here's something I want to talk to you about, because this is, and I'm gonna put a mutual friend on blast. I'm gonna start aggressive YouTube drama right now. No, I was talking to our friend CJ last week, and they were really kindly kind of, talking about some of their business theories about YouTube stuff. And there's one thing they said, and they were like, "But you should talk to FD because he thinks the opposite. But you guys are both old and have families, so maybe that's the difference," or something like that. And I was like, "That's fair, CJ. We are both old and have families," but which is sponsors. CJ was very, very adamant, or was sort of trying to convince me that there is a downside in having sponsors on videos, and that it's better to try to do it without sponsors.
I agree.
Okay, so you agree with that?
I actually agree.
Okay, so
I agree with it. I agree with the logic. I just didn't do it because I had kids and families.
Yeah.
But sponsors suck. Getting the read sucks. Getting them to approve it sucks. I'm so happy. Like I would probably have even less sponsors if it weren't for Nebula.
Mm-hmm.
And like now
you do it all through
it's
them.
all through Nebula, so they handle all the real work. And even just not having, even with them handling the real work, it still sucks to have to go back and forth with people and like have to like find out they're doing like weird creepy shit in their with their products on the low. Like I never forget, I did a HelloFresh, and it's like, yeah, so we're also union busting. And it's like, oh, okay, well that's not okay. And then freaking who else is I was actually feeling good about Ground News for a while, but like they're just everywhere. It just feels weird. And I bet you CJ is going to say that when you don't have sponsors, because the thing that our real job is parasocial, especially in our type of content, is to be parasocial guidance counselors. You know what I'm saying? We're like we're everybody, we're replacing mentorship in a weird way. Where, people trust us. Sometimes they shouldn't, right? But they do. They trust us. They believe that we're putting in a lot of effort and thought and work into the things we're saying into these screens. And we are. And so when you interrupt that with here's Adam and Eve, it does kind of throw off the development of that connection. Now, it's not the worst thing ever. And I still do Nebula, but Nebula is different because Nebula just is.
Yeah, I think people
stuff,
feel differently about that, and especially when you do it at the end of a video. I was talking to another person on YouTube I like, who I was chatting with a couple weeks ago, is Jared Henderson, who's a Nebula person as well.
Yeah,
I was sorry about that, but yeah, no, I feel that, and I've had the weird thing where a couple times, like, and I definitely did a panicky thing where after Wisecrack kind of got shut down. Someone, I'll just say it because I have a video just came out with them, so I'm not going to be coy here. The rep we worked with at Ground News over at Wisecrack, I was very kind to them, like hit me up to be like, hey, that sucks. if you want us to do some videos on your channel, would do that. And I definitely said yes, because you have that immediate anxiety when you get laid off.
Right. No, yeah.
But then I've found, the irony of like videos I've had that have done good numbers have been videos that have not had sponsors on them. Everything I've done a sponsor on thus far, like the 2 of my last 3 videos, have slightly, and again, I'm so new that underperformed is relative, but have underperformed. And then it creates that anxiety, especially when you're doing like RPM stuff
Right.
and this was like, the CJ point. It's basically better to make stuff that's 100% you, communicate with the audience earnestly. And if you're going to use time of the video to sell something, talk about your Patreon or stuff you're doing that's still focused on community building and audience stuff and not cutting to a brand.
Yeah. I agree with that. That is really CJ is like CJ's every video essayist favorite video essayist for that specific reason, because like CJ is not doing, I don't know, the like ridiculous investigative journalism type stuff that a Dan Olson is doing. They're not reading 75 books for every video. Sometimes CJ will read 75 books. But like they're not, CJ's not doing any specific thing at such a level beyond anyone else in the genre, except for the authenticity of the art that goes into the video, the analysis that goes into it. And that is what draws their core audience in. And if CJ was more cynical, CJ would be bigger than all of us.
Oh, for sure.
And have a cult,
I would die.
Yeah. Easily. I murdered several people in the name of the cult of CJ. But on the flip side, though, if they did that, that would also throw off the level of authenticity and connection you have with the experience of watching a CJ the X video. And so that is the conundrum. So I'm so much happier when I do B-sides with no sponsor. Even the Nebula, I hate my Nebula sponsor on the B-sides because I don't get paid a lot for them. So it feels tedious because I want to get those out really quick. And it's just like I have to go through all these steps to make sure it's approved. But like other random sponsors, now don't get me wrong, like if freaking, I don't know, insert semi not evil company here, at least for as far as we know, pops up tomorrow and says, hey, here's $25K for a 2-minute spot, I'm taking that in a heartbeat. I'm trying to buy blinds. I'm trying to pay for soccer, whatever. But I do notice that since I've stopped doing other, like it's been almost over a year since I've done a ground news on my main channel, and the channel's growth and like the videos have done better since then. I've had a really good streak of success. Of only doing Nebula.
No, that makes sense to me. And I think there's a thing as well where like, because the thing that would happen, and I've seen before, like people get mad at creators when they're doing ads, and especially like, and I know this happens, like my last video, I had ground news on it, and it's about depression and mental health and capitalism. And of course, I knew there'd be a few comments that were like, wow, talking about capitalism and then, trying to sell us a news product or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's how that works.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yeah. And I think too, there's always a sense. I remember once on, this is like a couple of years ago when I was doing a stream at Wisecrack, and someone in the chat just got a little too spicy about like money and stuff like that. So I said, fuck it, and started being like, you want to know how much we make for ads here? I'm just going to tell you, like, this is how much we make for this, how much we make for this one. And immediately people in the chat were like, wait, that's it? Because I think there's a sense too in which folks overrate, and then it just doesn't benefit anyone. If I'm watching a creator and I'm seeing an ad and I'm like, well, they're printing money from that, why am I going to support them in another way?
Right.
Unbeknownst to them, it maybe is not that much money.
Yeah. There's not like, so I guess to the chat, to both chats, YouTube ads are a joke compared to Instagram. Like if you're trying to get in TikTok, if you're trying to make that real influencer money, it's not off YouTube. The money that they're giving for YouTube videos.
Oh, people make the stupidest money to go on an Instagram story and talk about a body cream that they
Yes,
have used.
so much money. Like I am so frustrated with the fact that I'm not interested in whoring my family out because I would make so much money. Oh my God, because I'm such a good dad.
See, I'm a terrible father. I'm picking my daughter up from preschool. We're doing headshots today. Going to start pitching her to brands, get some meetings. I'm waiting for that stage of like, if we stay out here, of taking my daughter to school in LA and having kids who are like leaving class for commercial auditions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the parents who are just sort of counting money in the parking lot that they got off their kids.
Yeah. And it's like, and I don't know, no shade to, because I do know some family creators, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there probably is, it's not like immediately awful, but it definitely felt weird to me. You know what I'm saying? But those fucking, like, I know those, because I know some of them, I also know how much money they're making. Yeah. And it's a lot of money for very little work, you know.
But then I guess the difference, of course, would be that, and this will segue into something else I want to ask you about, that there is a level at which the money is bigger in some of the Instagram influencer marketing stuff, but it does feel like it's way less sustainable in terms of building that. I do wonder what you think about this, because this is like a new existential anxiety I have. Like, what do you think about, your wagon is very hitched to YouTube and Twitch a little bit. Do you feel pretty good about the sustainability of YouTube as a platform and sort of and whatever we're going to call like BreadTube 4.0 or whatever it is that you're resuscitating single-handedly?
Post-breadtube.
Yeah, post-breadtube. I like putting post in front of things. Yeah. How do you feel about the sustainability of both, the platform and the content ecosystem?
Well, I mean, you're always subject to YouTube subtly being like, you know what, everyone over 5'8", your channels are gone now, right? Like,
yeah,
you're always subject to weird stuff with that. I am one of the first things I did once I saw fucking Zuckerberg pop up on Joe Rogan was be like, has YouTube started to suck up the Trump? Has Google sucked up the Trump yet?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh no, they didn't. Okay, cool. All right. We're a little bit safer. But we're at the whim of, techno feudalism like everyone else. But I think YouTube likes their status within the genre, within like the social media space, because we are like when TikTok was starting to shut down, there was like people were making like joke videos about like going into the different rooms of like where you're going to take your content. And so like Instagram was all like everybody's, got on makeup and a six-pack or whatever. And then Twitter was just racism and swear words, and the YouTube was like wearing a monocle and sipping champagne and is really like whatever. And so like I think YouTube likes having that general sense of prestige around it. So I don't think I think we're probably, because of somewhat a distance from Trump, pending, of course, the resurgence of fascism in this country, I don't think we're in too much danger, compared to all these other places.
I mean, the other interesting thing it seems about the relationship between YouTube and Post-breadtube, let's say, is that, a lot of the talk industry-wise in entertainment is like YouTube having a bigger market share than all these streaming services. And a lot of the more, I guess, flashy general audience stuff on YouTube, people are making TV deals, not just Mr. Beast. There's other folks doing it. It seems like an advantage of the Post-breadtube thing is that it's people that are popular on the platform that aren't going to leave for a bigger thing because Hulu is not going to give a deal to BreadTube type stuff.
Yeah, not yet. Not going to what?
Right? Yeah. And listen,
I don't think Bad Empanada's getting a Netflix deal anytime.
That's a guy I've only learned about recently, and now I want to learn more about it. I've like been popping in and out of Noah's stream the past few days as like background stuff. and I caught like a little bit of him and
Bad
Hassan
Empanada.
talking, and sometimes people send me stuff of his, and I don't get it.
He's Bad Empanada is he's like a mythical breadtube goblin that we keep. He's locked in he's locked in a book in a cellar at the end of a journey. But if you chant his name several times and you say someone is a Zionist or a liberal or a debate bro, he will appear and render justice.
Wait, so is he one of these types though? And maybe this is wrong that I gather this, that he, anti-Zionist guy, mad at those guys, but then he also thinks that like Hassan's too liberal or something?
Yes,
Okay.
but although so it's a couple things. And I'm just gonna, because he's having a moment. I don't want to shit on his.
Oh no, and I'm not. And this is for me at least. This is like a genuine curiosity. I mean,
Yeah.
this is not me facetiously shitting on someone. I'm just curious.
So Bad Empanada genuinely, in my opinion, has some problems in terms of like how he approaches content and just like engaging with people, which is why even though he is he has excellent analysis, there's very few times I've watched a video from him and been like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like he's very principled in his application of the politics. He's nobody can accuse him of things they can accuse me of, things they can accuse Hassan of, so on and so forth, right? But they could accuse him of other things, of like just coming off unhinged and going too far and being too edgy. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword with him, is that like, and so I've personally have watched his content probably longer than most other people. In like, I've watched him very early, like when he first started. I just happened to find him and was always like, oh, these are good, this is good analysis, I'm learning a lot from this. And I don't, not to come off haughty, but I don't learn a ton in like a lot of the content I consume. A lot of it is stuff I'm pretty familiar with, right? And but like, with him, I learn a lot. But I also am like, ooh, I can never associate with this guy publicly.
No, I get that. Like,
and so, I'm at a point though, like especially in like this post-Trump era, in this ongoing, public genocide we're kind of in, I'm kind of less amenable to finger wagging at a Bad Empanada. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, okay,
sense,
yeah.
And I think there's ways to talk about someone from like a content perspective of that without finger wagging or poo-pooing. And I do think, I feel like sometimes there's just people, and again, I'm not saying this, I'm truly not thinking about anyone in particular right here. This isn't like throwing shade at someone in an unfair way. But I do think there's some people that make stuff that I feel like they miss out on the benefit of participating in some form of community a little bit more, and not even like leaving your house community, just the groundedness of maybe having some contact with other people in the space, making similar stuff, talking about things, because people, I feel, can get, when you're in the room alone and you're in the closet and the microphone's there and you're not sleeping and you're just like online all day, there is a type of brain toxicity that I think takes over. And I think especially there's some people in, I guess, like that left-leaning space who I genuinely think are well-intentioned, just gotten a little bit brain poisoned in a way that I doesn't think help them or their audience or anyone else.
It does it to you. It's a really, insidiously slow process of brain rot that you go through becoming a public figure. I call it being fake famous.
Yeah.
Because I am now like literally, if I leave the house 3 times, I'm gonna get recognized once. Period. Every time I leave the house, out of the state, out of the country, I get recognized a lot now. And it's almost always love and like, admiration. And I get, DMs and messages from people saying that I changed their life and I did this and I did that. And people are willing to fight people in the comment section on my behalf and all this stuff that you get exalted, right? And then you also get respect from your peers and from people you look up to. And, Hey, you want to write a book? And just all these different things start happening. And but then I also see how much a Ground News ad read pays. I'm like, maybe I'm not famous yet. Like, I can't afford security, I can't afford a publicist, so on and so forth. And like the audience, unlike if I was, I don't know, Idris Elba, Idris Elba is blissfully unaware of his fandom, of his like actual fandom, versus
he's not reading the comments.
Right, exactly. Versus like, I read my comments. I don't read them all the time, but I definitely, like, when I drop a video, I'm heavily reading the comments. That is my feedback loop. I'm Googling responses. I'm searching for myself on Twitter. I'm trying to figure out how people feel about this thing I worked so hard on for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And most of it's positive, but that's also just not something humans were meant to do. I wasn't meant to be aware of people's opinions of me at this scale.
Yeah.
And so it's easier. And so it's not just easier. Well, it's easy. I'm getting tongue-tied. It makes sense to stay in your dungeon. You know what I mean? Because like, it makes sense. Like, when you see people, I hate to pick on him because I really do like his content, but he just provided the most perfect example of how this happens. The guy in Praise of Shadows. Are you familiar with that drama that happened last year?
No.
In Praise of Shadows, he's a left adjacent, progressive guy that does horror content. And in some form or fashion, there's like some weird noises popping up. Is that me or you?
It's me. It's either someone doing lawn work outside or someone chopping up body parts. The blinds are down, so I don't know for sure.
Okay. Hopefully it's the first one.
Yeah.
So he I don't know the full story, but like, he got targeted. And that's another thing, is that you have your fandom, and that's your army. But if your army isn't big enough, and you get into the crosshairs of somebody else's fandom, you can get inundated with negativity all day, every day, right? And somehow this happened to him. He's in the horror space, so that's probably a little more politically diverse than breadtube, lefttube.
Yeah.
So something happened where he just felt like he needed to defend himself, and he makes this. Was it like a 3-hour long video?
Oh shit!
He made a 3-hour long video called conservative horror movies, or conservative horror. And I thought it was going to be like genuinely conservative horror movies. And I have a habit of just like sharing videos that I watch.
Oh,
this was literally one of very few times where I shared a video without watching, just because I knew I knew, oh man, a 3-hour video about conservative horror movies. There are people in my audience that are going to thank me. So they're going to be so grateful that I brought this to their attention. And like, I shared it, and I don't know, went to work out or something, and I came back, and the comment section was like, bro, why did you share this? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, oh, what is this? And I start watching it, and I'm like, oh man, this is really bad on a lot of levels. It was just a bad video, and it was bad on multiple levels. But the main problem it had was him airing his grievances with the community he was in as a creator. And within your basement, within your your zone, your cave, that probably makes perfect sense. There are people shit talking you. They're there every time you open up the app, every time you look at your comment section, every time whatever. They seem to be everywhere. They're not going away. And these assholes don't realize how wrong they are. So I'm going to show them how wrong they are with this 2-hour, 3-hour long video. And it didn't work out very well, And so you kind of have to, that's the other big depersonalizing thing, is that as you get bigger and you develop anti-fandoms and people that their consumption is hating you, like their entertainment is knowing that they don't like you, you have to be like, okay, that has to be normal to you. And that's not a normal
natural
thing
human
to
thing.
happen. It's not a natural human thing.
I mean, there's times though where I am thankful for times where I see people in life. I actually shouted out this couple on a stream yesterday because they were super nice, but I was like, seen some music last week, and this really nice couple with a cool dog came up and like kind of shyly said, "What's up?" But it's so, for me, I find that really nice because it's a reminder that outside of some of the weird internet algorithmic toxic stuff, there's just real cool, mellow human beings
Yeah.
consuming things and appreciating it. So that's, to me, that's like one of the grounding parts of it all, and a nice reminder sometimes, and something I hold on to that stuff mentally, so that if I'm like getting in my head about
Yeah.
the person with like the pornographic anime avatar on their
Avatar
thing,
calling you a cuck. And it's
yeah, I
like,
think about like, I don't know, that cool looking couple with a nice dog was super nice and chill. I think I'd rather have them like me
I
than
had,
that guy.
yeah, I had to build in barriers to my crash out moments. So I let my wife take over my Twitter.
Oh, that's smart.
And then I just stopped using it. I still check it every once in a while, especially for like sports stuff. But
Yeah.
I let my wife, like, so I had to ask my wife's permission to tweet for the last like 3 years.
That
Um,
sounds reasonable. I mean, I'm not there. I did take all my social media stuff off my phone,
mm,
which sometimes means I occasionally like miss stuff or get distracted by stuff, but it's nice to not,
yeah,
have the temptation to wake up in the morning and grab the hate box.
yes. I have to explain to my wife the rule I made up is if I have to explain why I'm responding to a guy and it sounds stupid to my wife, then I can't
Mm.
I can't do it. If I
Yeah.
have to like break down so this guy called me an asshole in 2022, right? And he's friends with this guy over here that doesn't like this thing I made, and so he called me a dickhead, and so now so it's so like, and as I say it out loud, I'm like, oh, I sound like an idiot.
Yeah.
I need
It's
to touch
really,
grass.
no, it's helpful. Like there was, there's the one time I accidentally pissed off a very popular streamer whose name I'm not going to say because I don't even care. But then explaining to friends who are not very online and my wife what was happening, they were just like, "What the fuck are
What?
you saying?" Like
Yes.
some man who he talks fast at computer got mad at you, and the other boys on computer said stuff like, "Who fucking cares?" And it's like,
Exactly.
"Oh yeah, you're right. You're right."
Exactly. And once I had that happen a couple of times, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go touch grass and like have coffee with my wife. And
Yeah.
that creates more buffers between crash out moments. I still have them. And I'm especially on Twitch now. Now my Twitch gift to myself is to be just a pinch more toxic. Just a bit.
There has to be space for, I do find sometimes that I find streaming a more helpful toxic space to be a little bit. I always try to just acknowledge it. I feel like
Yeah.
being toxic, what people are mad about is unconscious toxicity, where you
Mm,
operate with a level of toxicity, but you're not self-aware and you act like that's normalized. I feel like people give you a lot of grace. At least I find this.
mm.
And I'm just like, listen, I was born in the middle of the 80s. I grew up in a really toxic environment. The
Yeah,
stuff that
we're
we would
children
say
of the
was,
90s. This is not how we were like weaned to handle, especially intellectual conflict. The 90s
mhm.
was the era of like people think house is such a like there were like 10 houses on TV in the 90s. Dr. House from the
Mhm.
House show. There were
Don't get
like,
me I've spent
yeah,
so many hours with that man.
there's so many characters like that in the 90s, of all races. And they were also comedians. That was the stand-up comedy era. So like our baseline response to conflict is verbal jousting, that has no sense of barriers to what is okay or not okay to say.
Yeah.
And so like I am resisting that urge whenever gamer fart 49 with the lolly anime avatar says something out of pocket to me. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
yeah.
I know, and like I'm a very peaceful, calm man, but yeah, sometimes like when very, and I say this is a scrawny man, but when like very scrawny, weird, alt-right pseudo philosophers talk about how alpha they are, I'm like, I don't know, I kind of just want to like fight you while wearing a pink t-shirt. You
I
know,
want to,
it's
I want to, I want to sucker punch you and take a picture of it. Yeah, like, and use
100%.
it for content. Yeah, but the key is, I think the real key, not the real key, because I think what you just said is good. I want to add to that. I should say is that we also have to remember that the toxic behavior is not for anyone but us, and it's not fixing the problem other than helping us feel better in the moment.
Yeah.
Because I think that's another mistake that people make is that they think that that by responding in kind, sometimes responding at all. Because like shout out to I had him on the channel the last week, FeedyX, who's a gamer, Tekken creator. And he's one of the least toxic, especially as a game creator, a fighting game creator. Like he has carte blanche to be as absurd and unhinged as he wants to be, and he's not. And so I think that actually sometimes makes him more of a target. And I told him privately, like, look, you need to stop responding to the awfulness that comes your way, because what that actually does is tell these weirdos that they can become relevant by fucking with you.
Yeah.
And it multiplies them. And you know, because this is what they're into. They're into the idea that they're affecting your day-to-day life. They're affecting your channel, you know, because we are little gods in these machines, and they think that they can become demigods by getting your attention.
I know that was the biggest mistake I made recently when people got mad at me for something on Twitter. I was like reposting their dumb shit. Actually, I got in trouble on Twitter recently because do you remember the meme of it was on like Maury Povich, and this is in the 90s, and there was a young white man whose name was Lil Ice, and he was willing to die for his gang?
Yes.
Okay. So I've always loved that meme. As a, you know, someone who was a white kid in the 90s and got way too into sort of cosplaying hip hop aesthetics in my fashion. But I had like reposted that and said, someone was like, what's Little Ice up to? And I was like, mostly just chilling, making video essays and taking care of my family. That is a joke. But then it blew up and it got very real. And then people got really mad at me because they were like, that's not Lil Ice. He's a faker. This isn't. I was like, Jesus Christ, you guys. But then I went meta with it. And I was like, but in a sense, I am Lil Ice. You know, I was.
You should actually just run with it. That's your second channel.
Just
Lil Ice all grew up. Lil Ice grew up and became a leftist.
I mean, honestly, no, someone literally. Then I was getting comments on some of my videos and stuff for like, holy shit, Lil Ice grew up and became a Marxist YouTuber. Something like that happens, you know. I started like listening to early Talib Kweli singles and sort of breaking stuff down and being like, oh, I found some truth there.
Yeah. I say run with it until somebody catches you. I may have told Big Joel he should try blackfishing for 6 months to see how far he could get. I told him I would disavow and that I would never I would never defend him. But I may have told him to like, look, just shave the beard properly, get a fade and tan and be Lil Joel for a little bit and see how far he could get in this, like in our current ecosystem. So I'm all for white people. I don't support it. I want to be clear.
Oh no, I support it in terms of I want to see it happen.
Yeah, there you go. I do want to see it happen. I do want the aftermath.
Again, that's the difference between support and I just want to watch the plane crash of that.
Yes. So yeah, I'm all for fucked up shit.
Well, I do want to say before I know you got stuff to do, but one thing I always thought about this, I need to thank you for the time that you made the video about cannabis, because as a nerdy hip hop fan of a certain age, I remember like in middle school being like, guys, there's this new rapper. You won't believe it.
You won't believe what he said.
He talks about computers and he's like a hacker, but he also raps, and he just came at LL with tremendous confidence. And his name, Get It, Can I Bust? He's posing a question with his moniker. So just I remember when that video came out, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm whatever circle of people that you didn't need to change the thumb for, I was in that circle. So
and again, perfect example of like thumbnail whoring until it works, because that was a 10 out of 10. I had never had, and like I call it organic 10 out of 10. Like every other 10 out of 10 I've ever had has been like me trying to do real life work through the channel. Like here's an interview with an activist about Cop City. The video I did maybe over a year ago now about the campus protests, where I was just kind of just posting a live and trying to bring attention. Those did 10 out of 10s because that's actually what this space is, which is a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But when that got a 10 out of 10, I was like, wait, no, I care too much about this. And I put Eminem on that thumbnail so quick. Oh, I put Eminem on the thumbnail so quick. And then like randomly, I just came with that image and now it's one of my it's one of the success stories. Probably like that let me know I could talk about hip hop in a way that I didn't think was possible before then.
Yeah.
You know, because
That's
I'd
amazing.
made rap videos, but like only about Drake and Kanye West.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The only other one I did was Nicki Minaj and Lauryn Hill. The Nicki Minaj one for me at the time bombed. Lauryn Hill was pretty successful, but it was also Lauryn Hill. And
Yeah.
like it had a very different audience that I knew I couldn't recapture again.
Well,
What
everyone should go watch those.
Say again?
I was just telling people, anyone in my audience who hasn't watched those videos, go watch those ones.
You got to watch my hip hop deep lore. I'm so proud of the fact that I'm making like a Lupe Fiasco video in a couple of months.
Ooh,
like, yeah,
okay. Now, and again, as a man of a certain age from the Chicagoland area, that's even more important.
Yeah. Are you aware of Lupe's AI engagements?
Slightly.
He is very much an AI evangelist.
Oh,
evangelist.
Weird guy.
The evangelist part is not that was a Freudian slip because I'm going with like a weird. I think Lupe's kind of Lupe might destroy us all. That might be the name of the video.
Okay, I would rather be destroyed by him than Elon, though. So
true. Elon was destroyed by accident. I think Lupe is. I think Lupe, like everybody compares himself to Canada. Is it Canada? Who was Akira? Not Akira. Who was it? Was it? No, it's Tetsuo. Was it Tetsuo or Canada?
Oh, it was Tetsuo because he had that on the album.
Yeah, so it was like I think Lupe really thinks he's no. I got to make sure that was Tetsuo. Chat, was that Tetsuo? Okay,
chat seems to be confirming that.
Okay, I think Lupe really does see himself as Tetsuo, and I think his AI stuff is him planning to like a post hip hop world where he is the only one left, and because he learned how to do the AI before everyone else did.
Well, I'm so excited to see that. Let me hit you with a yes/no question before I let you go. Then, YouTube thumbnails and shit like that. Is there ever a point where you stop and give up?
Yes.
Okay, and when is that?
So how I do it is, so it's a couple things. So I think a bigger thing for you is timing and all your joints are like 10 minutes. So no, you're probably just doing the thing. I would space them out more.
Yeah. Well, I think what I want to do is space out more and get a little bit longer, not crazy longer, but a little bit longer. I'm thinking my ideal cadence might be like more in like the 15-minute-ish every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's a solid thing, unless like a big thing happens in pop culture.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is that you have to be until you've built like that thing that CJ and I and other people have, and you don't have like until you've built that certain amount of audience investment where they'll come and listen to you watch anything. You have to chew on the fat of whatever's happening in the culture. So like where is Donald Trump on your thumbnail, sir? Where is Elon Musk? I see you said you did my final Jordan Peterson video. It's 106K views, but where's Jordan Peterson's face? On the at least on the thumbnail I'm looking, guys, you might have like
there was a Peterson thumb early and it tested bad, but no, for sure. And I think part of this too is like it's only been the last couple things that came out were like post, like me trying to do this, like full time. Let's think so
like a month ago, free speech is over.
Yeah, so that was like I was still all the stuff from free speech is over down was literally me fucking around while working full time. The first video I did with a sponsor, but I wrote that when I still had a job, was the Brian Johnson thing. So it's really been like the last 3. And the American Dream is Dead thing, that was actually a test of taking a stream clip because someone who I will not name who works for a channel was like, oh, try a stream clip on your channel and see how it plays. And I might even just unlist that soon because it was more of a test. But
and you are but you're also at 100 already. You kind of cheated. Like you're supposed to have like 20,000 subscribers right now.
I know. I cheated.
And so like that means you can, when you have 20,000 subscribers, do whatever the fuck you want, like for a year.
Yeah.
Until you, I always tell people, if you fuck around all you want till you get to 100K, and by then you better know what the fuck you're doing.
I know.
And so it's not the worst thing. The good thing is you can still get a couple of viral joints.
Yeah.
And like you'll be at 200K in 6 months, and that the 100K people that you fucked over this year you don't have to worry about them. Like I have 1 million subscribers, and I'm sure there's 200,000, at least 200,000 people on that subscriber list that haven't watched a video of mine in years.
Yeah.
And they just haven't, unsubscribed. So what I like to do with thumbnails, I change my thumbnails. So first I find a thumbnail that's working for the video, right? And then I have like a list of thumbnails. And I'm like, there's more juice in here. I just have to, I've left a list of videos, I should say, where I'm like, there's more juice in here. And I have to like figure out a thumbnail that'll get it to work. And what I actually do is when I make a video that is tangentially related to that video, I'll change that thumbnail. Does that make sense?
Okay. So you have some like thumb ideas and stuff like that going first.
Yeah. So I'll have like, so my next video is about Beyonce, right? I'm gonna change my Nicki Minaj video thumbnail. That's been like that for years now. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. Yeah. So this Nicki Minaj video thumbnail has been like this for years now. 3 years. It's a 3-year-old video. The video never really broke out like I wanted it to. So I'm like, okay, if I'm getting people to come watch Beyonce, they're gonna get fed by the algorithm, my Nicki Minaj video, my Lauryn Hill video, probably some other videos that are more popular with Black women in my audience, right? So all those thumbnails need to be updated within a week to see what magic can happen in the algorithm as the algorithm tries to expose. The algorithm is like, all it's doing is A/B testing the video, not the thumbnail, I guess technically, but the algorithm is like, okay, here's this video. We're going to put it into all these people based on this data and on their scroll. And if they click it, then that's a win. And then we send it to more people. And if they don't click it, that's a loss. And we stop sending it to people. But it only knows how to send the videos to people based on previous data it has. And sometimes it really won't know obvious things. Like one of the points I made in the video a long time ago is like, one of my favorite video essays is Yara Zaid, who's a Black woman, and she basically does the same thing that Lindsay Ellis does. Like it's basically the same videos, except a little bit more Black oriented. And their algorithms are just not connected. If Yara Zaid was to do a crossover with Lindsay Ellis, it would probably be really good for her, because I know if you like Lindsay Ellis, you'll probably like Yara Zaid. But the algorithm doesn't know to connect those two channels. So you have to kind of leave. One thing is collaboration is really valuable, number one. But you also will force yourself to leave breadcrumbs between your channel and other channels through the use of, certain types of thumbnails, certain types of topics, etc., so that the algorithm gets the picture and starts connecting your stuff to their stuff. And that's the only way to get the algorithm to expose you to those audiences, because otherwise it's just not going to do it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I know this is the thing too. I literally just yesterday reached out to some folks I used to work with who were actual designers, being like, friends, I need thumbnail help. Because I have literally just done some shit real quick in Photoshop, because again, wasn't my job until very recently. So kind of having to go back now and look, because it's one of those things. I know how to write a video. I know how, all that stuff I'm pretty confident in. I'm still trying to figure out disconnecting my voice from my old employer. But the thumb side thing. And I guess I got to think about, because I love this streaming. I love these people who are here, but I guess I got to think about maybe disconnecting the two at some point.
Yeah, you need to create a whole separate, not some point, immediately create a burn streams channel or something.
Yeah.
And that's where your stream clips go. And just, what is this? The American Dream is Dead. That becomes a stream clip on that channel. And now you have two different channels that serve two different audiences, because streaming is just there's just two different audiences.
Yeah.
And you're trying to collect people for your short commentary videos or video essays or whatever. And those aren't necessarily not the same people, but they aren't the same people most of the time. And you're going to want to get those two channels involved in two different networks of algorithmic bubbles, because if you put them both in the same spot, you're just confusing the algorithm as to what you are. And then if they can't figure it out, they won't do anything for your channel.
That's damn. Wow. The class is in. I'm sitting in the T. I remember in class, you got to sit in like the front thing or the thing. I feel like I've sat in the T right now. Well, man, I really appreciate that. I mean, I like have all these notes now from all these, not all these, the few creators I like respect the most. You were like the last person who I truly respect. Everyone else I don't respect. If you're a YouTuber and I have not talked to you, I do not respect you. If I see you in the street, I will look the other way and make a joke when you walk past me. No, but no, that's amazing. I'm going to just spend the rest of my day now just scheming, plotting, scheming things of that nature.
Yeah, you definitely there's an old video. So I have a couple of things you could watch, at least for me, is I did that whole how did I make it as a video essays video. That's the only other bomb I have. And I think that one mostly bombed because I clickbaited Too Close to the Sun in it, because I made it seem like it was a confession video.
Yeah.
And like it was 1 out of 10 out the gate. And then when people realized I didn't do anything wrong, they clicked off. And I think YouTube knows when you clickbait too hard and it punishes you. So that video, like I bet you if I re-released that every couple of months, I think to myself, I don't feel like doing a video this month. I'm just gonna re-release that video and see what happens. But I never do it because I'm too scared to ruin my own.
No, that one I watched that one back in there. I need to watch that again with like fresh eyes, kind of going solo.
But there's also an old interview I did with Dan Olsen. Like a old on the like deep on the B-side channel. It's like literally my 4th or 5th B-side channel video. He talked and he kind of like was basically saying, I mean, without having to watch it, he basically said you have to have a certain set of skills and a certain level of desire to be a mercenary, to like not be so beholden to a specific, aesthetic, thumbnail style, genre, etc., to not say, like, Dan has now earned the right to do whatever the fuck he wants on that channel. I'm so jealous. 3-4 months in between videos. Beautiful. Here's a video about fake Bigfoot prints. 2 million views, I guarantee you, right? He's earned that right, and like dope. But initially, if you go to his channel, it's talking about the Expendables or whatever the pop culture du jour moment of the time was. And so like you kind of have to play that game. Same thing for most of us. Same thing with most of us. So you got to get in there and I tell everybody, pull on the clown shoes because we got work to do.
Amazing. Well, let's do this again soon, man. I like genuinely, I'm glad we finally got to connect. So let's do it again. I really appreciate you taking the time. And I think that even if Caleb Williams' dad didn't want him to be in Chicago, I think that as long as Caleb Williams can let the fan base know he wants to be there and wants to take care of the team, there's some hope. I have so much hope for next year. I've been burned 17 times in a row. Yep. But this is it. This is okay. Well, then this is what we need to do at some point. If hopefully we chat before then. If not, we got to do a couple in-season Bears streams and just really call the audiences and see who in our audiences wants to hear us talk specifically about the Chicago Bears defensive schemes. So few. I gotta pull in Tom Grossi though. I don't know if you ever watched Tom Grossi. No, look him up. Yeah, he's a big football guy, Packers fan. We connected a little while ago. Good dude overall, by the way. Closeted based, if that's a that makes sense. That makes closeted, sense. I at least get what you mean when you say that. So yeah,
Yeah, we'll do like a nobody wants to hear us talk about sports stream.
And then they'll love it. And then they'll love it.
And just all 15 leftist sports fans
Yeah.
in one spot.
Awesome.
All right, let me get out of here, man.
Yeah. And then folks, if you're in the chat, I just posted the link to Noah's thing. So if you want to stay online and do shit, go to Noah's
yeah. So
stream
we'll do an
and
unofficial raid. So at least everybody in my chat, I think Noah's back because I think he's gonna extend it to Friday.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
yeah, I posted the link in the chat, friends. If you are wanting to hang out, be online, not pay attention to your family or do your job, go hang out and Noah's thing. Let them know we sent you. And again, if you don't subscribe and watch all of FD's stuff, what the fuck are you doing? But thank you so much for hanging out, man. I'll catch you soon.
Indeed. Peace and blessings. Same thing in my chat. Please go hit up Noah if you haven't dropped a couple of coins for people of Palestine. That's a appropriate opportunity to do it. And he's also like dyed his hair and shaved his mustache, so it's turning into a freak show. Wow. So I even played Tekken for like an hour last night.
I'm gonna catch up on that. I watched CJ's section last time. I'm gonna catch up on yours later.
Yeah. All right. Peace and blessings. How do I actually? Where am I even at on your screen?
Ooh. I'm just gonna end the stream. So then I'm gonna end.
I'm gonna close.